Hey folks, this is Scott at the X-Fed Homestead. Well, I'm going to start this video off a little differently than I usually do. I want to tell you about one of my subscribers. Hilda was 91 years old. She passed this week, and it was a joy for me to have her as a subscriber because the channel's only been open for a year, and it'll be a year next week on the 4th of July. And Hilda's been watching, and she has been watching every video, which as a content creator, you're happy that people will do that watch everything you make. And I didn't know this for the longest time. I found out through the family grapevine as word got around, and I was told that she and her daughter Alice watched all my videos, and that really gave me a warm spot right here. Several weeks ago, I dropped an Easter egg in one of my videos. It was the video where I was showing how to sharpen lawnmower blades, and behind me I wrote on a piece of cardboard Hilda and her daughter's name Alice, because the two of them watched the show together. And so they saw it eventually once I put it out there, and the family grapevine started going again, and I heard she got a big laugh out of it. Of course, she was confused as to why her name would appear there, but I don't see her that often. Maybe a holiday here and there, and over the last 15 years or so, 20 years or so. And so when I heard that she watched the show regularly, I just wanted to let her know that I was thinking about her, and that's the reason behind the Easter egg. I just got to tell you, she's a wonderful woman, kind, generous of spirit, and spoke kindly to everyone, and gave people advice, and was very pragmatic, and just a very gentle soul. And I enjoyed her company tremendously. Like I said, she was 91 when she passed this week, and I just wanted to say something about that. So Hilda, you're going to be missed, and rest in peace. And here's another video. You can keep watching. Well, it's getting a little windy now, but it's cooled down to 80 degrees, so that's great. I just got my lawnmower going and took a pass at the yard, and I have a couple of bags of grass, which is great for the garden because I love to use it as mulch. And the first thing I'm going to mulch is my onions. Now, they're about 6 inches high right now. They're in this row back here, and they're looking great. So I went through, I had to get rid of a few volunteer potatoes from last year, and I'm going to go through and just shake the grass over the onions so that it settles down almost like snow in between the onion stalks, and that way the stalk won't be bent over, as the grass will just come down very gently. A little harder to do on a windy day like this, but that's the secret to making a nice mulch, a mat of grass over the surface of the onions. So here, let me show you how I do it. I'll just take it in my hands, and I'll kind of rub a couple piles together so it comes very thinly over the onions. And you have to do this low down to the ground on a windy day like this, or the grass will go everywhere. Now I just take it by the handful and just gently shake and work with the wind, but you have to really get it on lightly. You can't have big clumps falling and killing your onions. So I just shake it very lightly. Now on the edges of the bed, like if you can see right here, you can put it thick. And you put it thickly, layer it thickly on the edges of the bed, and that will mat down over time, but it will keep the weed pressure off your bed of onions. And I'll do that all over the garden. And the thing is, if you use all the grass that you have, don't worry about it. More will grow next week. It's a great renewable resource. And if you do get a clump that falls on an onion, just take it off. It'll be fine. It'll bounce back. The important thing when you're putting grass down is to go very, very lightly. You don't want to drop a big clump of grass on your onions. It'll bend the stalks and you won't get them back. But if you put it on lightly, this time, maybe next week you put on a little bit more, and then you start having a nice pile of mulch that water can get through. Don't make it too thick, just enough to bury the weeds so they don't get any sunlight and don't have a chance to grow. I'm just starting to get some weed pressure now in this side of the garden, and so I'm putting this on now, especially. You'll see in a few days when the grass starts to get brown. If you look down here at the bed, it looks bright green. You can't tell where the onions are probably with this camera angle, and the grass, where the onions end and where the grass begins. But when you look at it from ground view, you're gonna see stalks of onions sticking up out of the ground. And when that grass turns brown in a few days, you're gonna be able to see all your onions easily. Makes harvesting easy, makes keeping the weeds away easy. I've done this for years now, and I've honed my technique, if you would, but it works for me every single year. I still have onions from last year, even though it's towards the end of May now. I still have onions from last season down in the basement, still going strong, and they may be enough to keep me going until these are ready to harvest. So that's great. It's been a great technique for me using grass as mulch on onions.